Now, you may be expecting a review of The Kid Who Would Be King, a movie that I would definitely recommend to people. This is just a short review. I would definitely recommend it. If you're a fan of childhood, adventure films, you'll love this one fine. It's okay. However, the point of this video is to discuss movie theater etiquette. And this is something that has pissed me off time and time again. More often than not, I could just brush it aside. I could just be like, okay, I could just ignore this, just watch the movie. Some things like bringing kids into a rated R film, a lot of the times I've never had a bad experience with that because the kids never interrupted. They never, granted, this is just the audiences I've been with. It could be extremely different with other people. But generally, my thought on kids in a rated R film, not a good mix. For me, on just a moral level, I wouldn't show my kid a rated R film until they're around 14 or 15, honestly. But what happened this past weekend pissed me off to the point where halfway through the film, I queued out of the film. I was so distracted by this group of people that I nearly wanted to stand up and just leave and ask for a refund. And I'm friends with the people who are at the movie theater. I could have easily have gotten a refund, hopefully. But the biggest problem that was happening at the theater was talking. The ever-loving, the thing that really pisses me off is talking during the movie. Now, granted, before talking about this story, I want to talk about my first screening of Glass. When I went to go see Glass, which I don't have a review up for anymore because I wanted to reevaluate my thoughts on it because I didn't really want to put out a review of it instantly, but nevertheless, there was a point in the movie where I was wanting to pay really close attention to the characters of Ellie Staple and whatnot. In a scene towards the climax. So I'm leaning forward, right? Just kind of paying attention to the screen. When all of a sudden, I look down and I see an asshole having his phone out and playing solitaire on it. And you know what? I know there was people that were bored with Glass, but you don't have to take out your phone to do that. You don't have to take out your phone to being bored. If you're bored of the movie, leave the theater. That's theater etiquette. If you're bored or you're tired or you have kids that won't shut the fuck up, leave. Because that annoys me as a movie-going audience. And this was a person who was like in his 50s, right? He was pretty old. And he should have known better. This person should have known better to not have his phone out and just playing solitaire during the movie. It's one of the things that annoys me is that people take out their phones during movie time. But then we get to what happened this past weekend, and it royally makes me mad. So I'm sitting there in the theater. I'm in the very back of the theater. And I'm sitting next to this family. I have no problem with families coming into the theater and watching movies. That's not what I had the problem with. The problem with what happened with this family is instantly something that is morally corrupt. So let's discuss this. So during the movie, one of the adults of this family is trying to... I don't know what she was trying to do. I think she was trying to have her kid pay attention to the movie. But at random times, she would be like, oh, is he going to throw the sword in a lake? Oh, is that the entrance to hell? Oh, is that... And obviously, those are very obvious things. Very, very obvious things. I don't know how old the kids were. They probably were like 5 or 6. My general rule of thumb when it comes to kids in theaters, they have to be 8. 8 or 9. That's my minimum level of kids in the theater. If I was an adult, I would have my own kids watch movies at home, and then take them to the theater when they're old enough to have some etiquette in the theater. But this is why this really annoys me. Pointing out the obvious and trying to talk during the movie to the kids. Number one, it's morally reprehensible in the sense that it's not really educating your kids anything. Kids are not dumb. They can clearly tell what's going on in a movie. Sometimes if you show them like a brain teaser of a movie, they probably won't get it. But when it comes to family movies like The Kid Who Would Be King, it just speaks volumes of how bad of a parent you are. Like, I'm not saying you're terrible, but the practice of this makes you think that your kid is not, smart enough to read into what's going on in the movie. Not only, again, that's just one thing that's wrong with it. You assume that your kid's stupid and you have to point out everything to them, and it's not like she did this whispering, it's not like she did this, it's not like she, leaned over to Billy and said, "Oh, is he gonna put the sword in the lake?" It's not like she did that. This person did, "Oh, is he gonna put it in the lake?" You know how annoying that is as an audience member? And this brings me to my second point. It annoys the audience members. So, again, not only are you assuming that your kid is stupid, but you're also distracting the audience. Every time that person talked during the movie and pointing out the obvious and telling your kids to shut up, I had to do this, blocking her out. And throughout the rest of the movie, I had to go like this the whole time. Granted, I could still hear her on this side, but not as bad as on this side because she was loud. Keep in mind, she was about maybe 5 seats away from me, and I could still hear her. Now, clearly, I could have moved, right? I could have moved to the lower section of the theater, and I had no problem with that. However, her voice was so loud that during the quiet points of the movie, she became a sore thumb. So not only does it distract the kid from actually, learning what's happening in the movie, but it distracts the audience, and it makes me feel like I wasted my money watching a movie for this channel. And it pisses me off that most of the time when I go to family movies, there's always some group of people or some lone asshole that will ruin the entire experience. And that's why I'm not reviewing The Kid Who Would Be King in its full entirety at this point in time. Because of what happened, I can't even give you a full, concise review because I kept getting distracted by this family. I wanted to make a scene out of it. I wanted to stand up, approach the family, and say, "Could you please not point out the obvious? There are people in the theater who are watching this. Could you please, lower your tone? I know you're trying to take care of your kids, but I think your kids are smart, and they can clearly see what is going on the screen." I was going to be very respectful with that, but you know what? I toughened it out, sat through the entire 2-hour runtime, and felt like I wasted $7.50. It was a matinee screening. I felt like I wasted money. All because some person, some family came in and didn't respect anyone. You know how annoying that is? Can you imagine if I came in to a screening of The Favorite or Green Book or any of the Oscar-nominated films and just sat there in the back of the theater going, "Oh my God, Emma Stone's side boob!" If I just pointed out the obvious, it would annoy the shit out of everyone. And that's theater etiquette. What I expect What everyone expects when they go to a movie theater is that they sit down, they grab their drink. Granted, this is McDonald's, but they grab their drink. They're sitting there. They're watching the movie clearly. Taking some nice sips, right? And no one talks. No one talks during the movie. It's fine to have clear reactions, right? Gasps, applause, laughter. These are things that are, conventions of going to a theater to watch a movie. What is cliche and what is annoying about going to the movie theater is sitting with an audience member who won't shut the fuck up, who points out the obvious, who talks out loud, who sits there on their phone without any common decency for other audience members. I tell you what, if I was bored by a movie, I would remove myself from the movie. I've done that before. I was bored by some movies, I left the theater. Without having to make a big fuss about it. Without having to heckle a movie. Without having to do obscene shit. I could just leave and not annoy anyone else. And this is coming from a 21-year-old. Alright? A 21-year-old. A person younger than this lady. Right? It's common practice when you go to a movie theater, you are expected to sit down, be quiet, drink and eat in peace, and enjoy the movie. And when you're not doing those things, you annoy other people in the audience. This is why people are moving away, and this is one of the reasons why people are moving away from going to movie theaters, is because of rude, inconsiderate people like the ones I have described in this video. It's not because of the premium prices. It's not because of the poor filmmaking. It's because of the audience members. Part of the way we interpret movies, part of the way we, internalize movies and process the movies that we watch is all about the audience and the environment that we're put in. And when I'm sitting in a movie that I'm trying to pay attention to, that I'm trying to enjoy, and someone talks during it, you end up with no review. You end up with no thoughts on the movie, and I have to go back and pay $8 to watch a movie. Granted, if I go at a later time, it'd be around $11. So, word to the wise. Theater etiquette. Here's your theater etiquette. Don't bring kids below the age of 8. Don't take kids to rated R films. Make sure you be quiet during screenings. Eat and drink respectfully. And above all, don't talk during the movie. That's all I ask. That's what everyone asks. So yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.